Hello everybody, welcome back another technical demos today. So my name is Daniel O. I'm working for Red Hat as a technical marketing major. In this video, showcase on how to make developer workshop with Ansible Playbooks and CodeReady Workspaces. Let's get started. So there are a couple of reasons why I needed to consider to automate the developer workshop provisioning specifically in this time. Because after COVID-19, everybody work from home, and then the many companies like a Red Hat and an IT company try to provide the virtual experience, specifically hands-on experience for developer, even IT operation team. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to spin up and provision the developer workshop and automated that workshop provisioning with Ansible and provide more web ID tool, which means the developer don't need to download any software to go through each the workshop steps and labs during the time. So first thing, we're going to use OpenShift container platform as a part of the Kubernetes cluster to deploy a pre-built own workshop environment, such as CodeReady Workspace based on Untitled Chapter project, provide the developer-owned application development environment, but based on Web ID tool, which means the developer only needed to access the web browser, the expose the URL, and then just get started the developer application without no pre-download software and pre-installation any specific software in their local machine. And also, you need to make sure the user credential, for example, from user 1, user 2, and user 100 with some specific password to access to your cluster, as well as the CodeReady Workspace, your ID tool. And then we're going to install CodeReady Workspace based on operator technology. The operator allows you to maintain and install your specific Kubernetes application, aka operator, with an automatic way, which means you don't need to worry about maintain or upgrade or downgrade or configuration management, or you already installed the application. Kubernetes operator, for example, MongoDB or PostgreSQL or CodeReady Workspace or MQ broker or Kafka cluster. Just like imagine your mobile application on your mobile phone, like Android phone and iPhone. You got a lot of application, mobile application on your phone, but you don't worry about when you need to upgrade or downgrade or even update some configuration on your each application, because the platform like Android or iPhone will take care of that for you. So Kubernetes, the OpenShift container platform based on Kubernetes, provide operator functionality to deal with this kind of automation, like a daily operation. And we need to use operator to install the CodeReady Workspace to build up the developer workshop today. And specifically, I'm going to show you that in a demo. And then in order to do that, we're going to use operator group and subscription to install that. And next step, we're going to create a check cluster. After we created the subscription and operator group, and now actually we need to install the check cluster, including key clock for authentication, your ID tool, and also putting some specific configuration on your check cluster. For example, the memory, CPU, or specific the configuration, etc. And also you can tuning or improve your key clock specification. For example, okay, I needed to allow some specific user to access specific workspace, and also put in some specific persistent storage like a 2 GB or 6 GB to run specific application. So for example, if you develop Quarkus application including native compilation, you need to at least 3 and 4 gigabyte memory put in your CodeReady Workspace pod, because the native compilation consume a lot of memory rather than the simple JVM, the thin jar compilation. And last thing is we needed to pre-warming for each user workspace, because, for example, just imagine some people, the developer workshop, you've got maybe 50 developers at the virtual event, and then the 50 developer try to open up CodeReady Workspace by web browser at the same time, which means the CPU consumption or memory consumption will be a spike in a short time in your Kubernetes cluster. Sometimes you gotta take a long time, so that means maybe some people feel be annoying to keep waiting for the spinning up your CodeReady Workspace interface. So in order to avoid that kind of be annoying, we need to pre-warming all workspace, like pre-downloading, pre-build, and pre-pulling your CodeReady Workspace image across Kubernetes cluster. So here is the process example. First step, you need to install your own OpenShift cluster using CodeReady container. It's a local machine pre-packed and a very lightweight container cluster based on OpenShift cluster or the community project of OpenShift container platform like OKD. And also you can, if you have already Red Hat customer and a subscription, you could use the OpenShift container platform by support Red Hat. And next thing, you need to run a couple of YAML file to install operator group and subscription. I'm going to show you that it's a couple of minutes later. And also run CodeReady CR, the custom resources that are running being in Kubernetes. And the last thing is you need to create the CodeReady Workspace YAML file that is already included pretty warm user workspace, etc. Okay, let's move on to the actual demo, how it works. All right, here is the Ansible Playbook. I already made this one for this demo. So you can find the couple of directory here, like the Ansible, the Playbook structure as the reference architecture or practice. Maybe you can find that a similar practice on my practical Ansible to the book I just recently published. And here's a couple of the directory, like a default. You can define specific parameter when you execute your Ansible playbook, like a number of users to you for hosting your developer workshop, and some kind of password ID, etc. And also the task directory, you can put in all your tasks with a role and group. There are a couple of YAML files, but you gotta go to workload YAML. This is the Kubernetes module. The Ansible provides a lot of bunch. The Ansible provides thousands of modules. You can use that, and specifically Kubernetes module allows you to create or modify your Kubernetes manifesto and object. So in this case, we're going to use the Kubernetes module here, and then just to check it out, already existing the developer workshop in my cluster. This is the feature of Ansible as the idempotency perspective. And then just go to main YAML file and then just make sure not modify this application, just create and provisioning just a parameter to run the workload YAML file. When we go to workload the YAML file, and then the first thing is CodeReady Workspace is already existing. Okay, if it's already existing, we're gonna skip all the remain task, not going to change anything in an existing cluster. But if there's nothing about that, let's get started to install CodeReady Workspace first. And let's go to file directory. We put in some task with some separate functionality. So in this case, go to install CodeReady Workspace YAML file. So there are a bunch of tasks here. The first step, okay, create the CodeReady Workspace namespace using CodeReady, and then just to make sure if once the CodeReady Workspace is already created, and then we gotta go to create operator group. I already mentioned here, and a subscription here. So if you want to go to operator group, it's the same operator group Kubernetes module, and using the operator, the namespace and operator the module, and the subscription is the same. The kind is subscription, but we're going to use one of the operator feature install plan. If you put in the automatic as the install plan approval, whenever you got a new version of operator, and that should be upgrade automatically, just like your mobile application. And go back to install CodeReady Workspace. So the next step, we're gonna create a CodeReady CRD, but we need to take some time. The old operator group and subscription are created, and so after that, we need to create a new CR, the CodeReady CR. So go to CodeReady CR here. So there are a lot of the check cluster configuration. So for example, we're going to use a dev file image and the server memory 2 GB and the memory limit is 6 GB, the request limit. And also we put in the chat limit workspace idle time is 0. So this means we're not going to use the timeout when you run the CodeReady Workspace. For example, so you may have a 3-hour virtual workshop, but during the time, maybe developer needed to break out or take a break, something like that. But after taking break, maybe session timeout is already done, which means the developer needed to re-log in, re-access, and navigate the some point that he stopping somewhere. So avoid that kind of problem. We just fix that this configuration and timeout 0, which there are no session out in the meantime. But I'm not going to recommend this configuration in production environment, which means this definitely impact your infra cost, because you need to run all the time in 24/7 the workspace pod. So if you have 100 people on your developer team and you need to run all the time 100 pod 24/7, and there are more and more the configuration here. You can change anything, whatever you need, along with your developer workshop perspective. So go back to here, and now waiting for the CodeReady, the check cluster is running. And this is the one of the OpenShift feature. The OpenShift automatically create a new route URL that allows developer to access their own CodeReady Workspace by web browser. And then we gotta put in some credential, for example, user 1 and the password or something, and user 2 and the password or something, etc. This is all the key clock, the configuration, and also putting some lifespan and access key, etc. And the last step is to pre-create warm the user workspace that I already mentioned earlier. First time at the beginning of workshop, they don't need to wait to spin up their own workshop environment. That's why we need to, and you definitely need to consider pre-warm and pre-create workspace for each user. So we're gonna loop here the number of a user, and I'll go to creative chat workspace YAML file. Yeah, we're gonna use the Kicklock the RESTful API to run the workspace, and then I'm gonna give you one more good feature of the CodeReady Workspace is a dev file. The Ansible enables the developer or operation team to use the JSON file and based on Jinja2 template to parse your JSON file, and specifically you can define specific wizard in your CodeReady Workspace GUI. So for example, you can put in some shortcut features, as for example, Maven build or login OpenShift container platform, or run test, or start live encoding, etc. You can define all this configuration for each workspace based on dev file JSON, and Ansible Playbook load this JSON file using Jinja2 template and apply your CodeReady Workspace during provisioning. Okay. let's try to deploy this, create a new developer workshop using Ansible Playbook. So this is my the OpenShift cluster, and there is no CodeReady project here, and I'm gonna here so run Ansible Playbook with some parameter here. So mainly it takes a couple of minutes to finish the provisioning, because each step you can find that each task here, and then you gotta find some the green color output, and yellow and red. So green means it's a brand new, and yellow means a little bit changed. Because I already executed this playbook a couple of times to make sure this playbook works for this demo. And then and also you got a red color in output format. That's definitely error or exception. So this is the maybe easiest way. How do you figure it out? Okay, this task is a brand new execution, or this task is just some kind of change, and this is task maybe got an error, because you gotta find that. So now we gotta waiting for the CodeReady Workspace to be running. So go back to OpenShift cluster. Okay, now we got the project CodeReady Workspace, and I go to install operator. So now the CodeReady Workspace is the already installed, and I go to CodeReady Chair. Is a chair is just created. So just go to pod, and then you can find here the couple of pod is now creating and running, and that's why we needed to a couple of minutes to finish the whole bunch of tasks. So CodeReady operator first install, and then that operator trigger required pods such as Kicklog, PostgreSQL, and Workspace, and also and more and more. Now we got a more part here, the plugin registry and Kicklog, and the dev file registry and operator here, and CodeReady Workspace here. It takes more time to finish that. And back to the yeah, we just go to there and create a new workspace here for username one. But in this demo, I don't want to spend a lot of time, so I just put it just one user workspace. But in actual developer workshop, maybe you need to put more number of user, like a user 50 or user 30 or user 100 for your developer workshop. Okay, looks good. And then, okay, just done. And now you got the result here. There's no error, so it's a perfectly. So make sure so all workshop environment is up now. And go back to here, and now it looks good. And here's your workspace. It takes some time to pre-warming, because it's already deployed, but the pod should be pulled down from external registry and then run it properly. It takes a couple of minutes. So let's try to a little bit wait for that. Okay, we have the 5 pod is already running. And then here is the networking and the route URL. And here is the route URL to access the actual CodeReady Workspace here. And user 1 and then password. I just create that. And now you can find the CodeReady Workspace in ID 2. The UI is very similar in the VS Code here. And let's just put in the new developer application repository. So for example, go to GitHub. This is my Git URL. And there are a bunch of the application. Okay, let's try to develop the CodeReady, the serverless application. I'm going to copy here, Git repository, and click and Git clone, and just put in the enter. And now you got to do the application here. So like Go, Node.js, Python, Quarkus, and Spring Boot. And also this is we already defined in the dev file some wizard, create a new terminal, and now you got a new terminal. And then just to make sure the change the directory like a serverless, and let's try to just run simple sanity tests with the Quarkus application. Now you got a Quarkus development mode to run it. And in the meantime, just take a look at that, how the Quarkus application is already implemented here. Okay, so there's a sample application to expose the RESTful API with endpoint API / and Quarkus here, and the return code welcome Quarkus with the serverless. At the first time, you're gonna need to download the dependency from external Maven repository. You can also pre-download Maven repository inside your CodeReady Workspace pod if you want to, okay? So now Quarkus application is running, and then yeah, now we got it here, and also you can click on this URL. This is on your the local URL, and I go to endpoint API Quarkus. Now you got to enter code here, and maybe one of the beauty of the Quarkus, you can change the code as a library code. Okay, so we can change that. Automate developer workshop provision with the Ansible Playbooks and CodeReady Workspaces. All right. So you don't need to even save this file, because the CodeReady Workspace allows you to save automatically, just like a Google Doc and Google Slide. And go back to the browser and just reload that. And now you got to change the code. So this is the one of the beauty of Ansible Playbook to automate to create your developer workshop. Specifically in a COVID-19, you don't need to spend a lot of time to provide the developer workshop, specifically your customer event or the internal enablement. So I'm going to stop the demo here and go back to the presentation. Thanks for watching today. And just one more thing I want to share. Some of you already know I recently published my practical Ansible 2 book. So if you are interested in becoming a reviewer, go to this website and use my referral number. One thing you need to have the referral number. You subscribe my YouTube channel and follow my Twitter, and then let me know and comment on my YouTube channel, and then I'm going to give you a referral number, and you could download the ebook for free. And thank you for watching. Have a good rest of the day.